Darren Yergin here on behalf of the NCAA following Game 6 of the 2023 NCAA Baseball Championships here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We're joined by the winning team here, Johns Hopkins University. From left to right, it's head coach Bob Babb. In the middle, Sean Storer and Dylan Souvenir. And then on the right, it's Jimmy Stevens. So, Coach, why don't you just lead us off with a opening statement about the game?
Well, we knew we were going to have to score because that's a very good offensive team that we played against. And fortunately, we had a couple big innings, a couple big hits from a couple of these guys to my left. Our pitching often goes unnoticed, but we only gave up 4 runs today, and I'll take that any time against a team that swings the bat like them. They hit the ball hard, but for some reason all year long our pitchers have been able to minimize damage. And had we played a little cleaner, as I said, they would only have 4 runs, and I would take that play on them any time.
Questions from D3 Baseball.
Coach, can I ask, how is Alex Shane doing?
He's concussed. He's probably, he's done. He'll be on concussion protocol. And it's a shame because you've seen how hot he is and what kind of hitter he is, particularly for a freshman. He's just been outstanding ever since we put him in the leadoff spot. So that's gonna be a hit. That's our second outfielder, key outfielder that now we have out. But we're resilient, and we'll put somebody else in there, and I'm sure he'll do a fine job.
Jimmy, can you just kind of take us through that play from your perspective?
Sure. I was just going for the ball. It's just one of those plays in baseball that happens now and again. Obviously, it sucks. Alex has been, just a great player and a great teammate. So, it sucks to see him go down, but I have confidence in the next guy that they'll step up.
Holding on to the ball.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of don't remember it, just kind of blacked out. But good things happen, I guess. And we're thinking about Alex.
Coach, you saved off today, but obviously for the last 1 2/3, he threw 42 pitches, at least according to the scoreboard. You bring him back on Monday?
I'll see how he feels, but more than likely, yeah. This would have been a bullpen day.
Right.
Probably threw more than we would have liked him to throw. But winning this game, knowing we had tomorrow off if we won, it was, best, whoever we thought was best should be in there.
Right, that's a new thing this year, obviously.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's it just playing 4 games a day is too much. And I understand the first 2 days to have every team play 2 games makes sense. After that, it makes no sense. So I'm glad the NCAA finally, wised up a little bit.
Sean, got to ask you about big hits and back-to-back innings, basically same part of the ballpark. What were you seeing out there? What was working?
It's not just one thing. I was just seeing the ball well as I've just tried to do the same things the last couple months or so, and whatever's worked, I've just kept trying to do the same thing, just focusing on batting practice, just finding a barrel, and then bringing that same, just simple approach to the game, like loose hands, just try to put a barrel on it, and good things usually happen. So I didn't really change much, but it's just kind of what I've been doing lately to prepare.
Dylan, I know you run base for one of those. What's it like to see him at the plate and, putting those balls deep in left center for you?
It was awesome. We were all very confident when he was up at the plate. And right off the bat, I knew those were probably going to be way out of reach of the fielders. So it's really great being on base for that.
3 hits yourself as well. What were you seeing? Obviously you saw a number of different pitchers from Baldwin, Wallace, but what kind of things were people trying to throw at you?
Yeah, I got a little bit of everything. First at bat, I was able to get out in front of an off-speed pitch, but overall I felt pretty good at the plate today. So, yeah.
Coach, talk about the improved defense. A lot fewer errors this game than yesterday.
Sure. Well, I think, the other day was an aberration. We've played good defense all year. And again, Misericordia just put such pressure on you that caused some of the errors. And then first game, World Series jitters, we're still relatively young. We have a sophomore, junior there. It's not like we are playing a ton of seniors. We're still relatively young, and I'm just so proud of the way these guys have stepped up and play. And if Sean makes an error, I want the next ball hit to him because I know that he'll make the next play. Dylan makes that nice play at the end of the game. So another sophomore. So our infielders, these guys and another sophomore, 3 sophomores and a junior. So yeah, it was a lot better today.
Questions from Hopkins?
Jimmy, is kind of, as Coach was just saying, you are the veteran of the infielder, even though this is the year you've really stepped in and done a great job at second base. So what was kind of the message after having that rocky day yesterday, you being, kind of the guy out there that's leading the way?
Sure. I mean, I think we talked about it. Misericordia is sort of an aberration both in how we played and how they played. So I think, you learn from it. The field was, new. We play on turf all year. So, you take the lessons. It wasn't a great day, obviously, and we made a lot of different types of errors, I think. So it was just sort of, focusing on the things that we messed up and, making adjustments. I think we played a really good day on the infield today. So, really proud of our guys.
Dylan, now 6 for 9 between the 2 games so far. What's been working for you up there at the plate throughout these first couple of days?
I've kind of just tried to have a simple approach. I feel pretty good at the plate, so I don't want to try and do too much or anything.
I know we don't have a pitcher in here to ask this question to, so I'm just going to ask it to Coach. You talked about how Misericordia puts pressures on teams. Everybody was talking yesterday about how Baldwin Wallace just doesn't swing at balls out of the strike zone, and that puts a pressure on teams as well. Is that, you see that today as well?
Absolutely. They battled at the plate. We helped them out late in the game. Our relievers seemed like they were 2-0 on every batter, which was driving me nuts. And we walked a couple of guys when we had a 5-run lead, which should never happen. But, they hung in there and kept coming back and pounded the zone enough that, our philosophy is make the other team beat us. We don't want from day one in the fall, we talk about we don't want to yield free bases. We don't want to walk guys, we don't want to hit guys, we don't want to let guys steal, we don't want to make errors. Those are all free bases, and if we can limit the number of free bases, we're going to win every game. And that's all we talk about. Yesterday we gave them a lot of free bases. Today we still gave them some. On the flip side, as I'm looking at this, they walked 7 of our hitters. And you'll often hear from our dugout when they walk somebody, free base, free base, because we talk about it all the time.
Coach Babb, you've obviously gotten to coach a lot of great players here. Sean had a kind of historical performance today. He tied a school record in an NCAA game with 6 RBIs. Just talk about how awesome it is to have a player like him in the middle of your lineup.
It's nice. Every time Sean's up, he's a danger. To hit a ball in the gap, to hit a home run. He's hit some of the farthest home runs this year that I've ever seen. And you got to also credit the guys that are getting on base in front of him. So our lineup is pretty potent from 1 to 9. I thought Dylan Whitney did a great job at the bat today, getting on base, being a table setter in the 9-hole. Jimmy in the 8-hole. Those guys were crucial, and so I love our lineup. I feel like we can score runs in bunches at any time. We might look bad for 2 innings and strike out 6 times in a row, and then the very next inning we're liable to put a crooked number up on the board. That's just the way our season has been all year.
Can I ask what plans are for tomorrow?
We're planning to have a light practice for an hour, take a few swings. We'll obviously watch the 2 teams that have the 1 loss. The team we just played, Baldwin, Wallace, and Misericordia, will watch that game and try to learn a little more how to better pitch them, how to better play them, and then hopefully come out and take care of business on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Any other questions for these 4? All set? Alrighty, well, we'll get you guys out of here. Thank you guys for joining us, the 4 of you. Good luck, enjoy the off day tomorrow, and we will see you the next day then.